All right, so I'm gonna flush this out just to get out. You know who I am. If I'm sending you this video, I'm not putting it on any YouTube or anything like that. It's just to send to buddies. And I want you to critique me on where I might be going wrong. If you are someone who's an AI practitioner, if you're not, and I'm sending this video to you, is because I want to show you what AI can do and what I've been able to get it to do in such a like short period of time. So let's jump right into it. I want to talk to you about my AI workflow. It's not my intention to make this video too long, so I'm just gonna like really speed through and get to the point. So first of all, I'm gonna tell you, let's start with ideation. Okay, remember, you want to get AI involved. You know, the way I thought when I said I'm gonna build a whole company from scratch using AI, you first need to think about how you come up with the idea, because you want the idea itself to be part of the thought process that's saved in the AI memory. And then you want to store that memory so that it can always understand your original intent and never lose focus. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about, is like storing the memory. So I first started in Gemini by building these, what they call gems, or ChatGPT calls agents. You can build them really easy. And so you train them, you build them. I'm going to take the one that I started out with. I started with Bruno the Crypto Master. No, actually I didn't. I started with, where is he at? Not the lawyer, Oliver, the business consultant. Okay? And Oliver's instructions are pretty detailed. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, they're over there. But it goes through this whole thing. Basically what you do is you tell AI, like, make you the best business consultant on the earth. And then you have to do some focusing, like focus on profit, focus on revenue, focus on building business models, focus on reoccurring revenue, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll write a prompt for you. I like to name them. This one's named Oliver. I like to name them. And then it goes through like not just what it will learn, not just the knowledge spaces that you'll focus on it grabbing information from, which you can do that. Like you can specify a book. Like if you read a great book in Amazon or something and you want it to be the foundation of how this things, you can go and specify that book or download the PDF of that book, add it as a knowledge source, and then use its methodologies in order to build your models and stuff, which I just think is amazingly awesome, right? But it tells you, you want to tell it about the approach. You want to tell it like how to ask you questions, how to format its responses to you, all of that kind of stuff. You really want to tell it how to act with you. So let's go back into Oliver. And I'm going to show really quick. I'm not going to go too deep. I had rethinking membership app strategy. I've wanted to rethink the Freedom Nation membership to try to make sure that it was more engaging, that it was less taxing on the people, that it pulled them in deeper, so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to go through all of these steps. Now, this is a long conversation. I don't want to get into all of it because this idea for sovereignty, it came after this long conversation. And what you can see is I'm doing like logo ideation. I'm going through choices of brand names. I'm having it help me choose what the company name is. I'm using business model logic. I'm doing research and writing out my financials. And what I did is I took it and built it into a presentation because I wanted it to take the findings, build it into a presentation. At the time, I just asked it to make the presentation, and I took it into a software called Gamma, and I made Gamma actually build out the presentation for me using AI and using like Nano Banana in order to like produce the images and so forth and so on. But literally, I wanted to see if I could make it to the top because I wanted to tell you the original question, right? But it's too long. This was a whole thing back and forth. I have my microphone here. I'm talking to the AI like a person. Here it goes. So I'd like to conduct some research about developing an app that will drive our business service. My belief that I am utilizing as a foundation in which you should challenge openly without bias is that a membership-based organization is better served by developing an application that a person has access to upon paying their fees and loses access to once they no longer pay their fees. However, the application has to provide daily, if not at least weekly value to the user in order to retain them. So I have a thought. I think that our members are better served by having something that they use every single day so that they have value. It's not about just tying yourself to an idea or having the ability to have access to a meeting or two. That you should really have like all tiers. Like it should open a world for you and have something of massive function in your life. And I tell the AI, challenge me, okay? Like challenge me bluntly. Like do not, patronize me. Do not tell me I've had a great idea. Just challenge me. So then it kind of gets into that, and I don't want to go through all of that, but it literally tells you like, because of the way I trained it, it's telling me what's called the Apex strategy. So I asked it to give me a strategy that's based on its business knowledge that was in the instructions before. So even when I say something, it's going to challenge it, but then it's going to give me what is the best practices for it afterwards. And that's useful and beneficial. So this went through a whole iteration. Like I said, I'm just going to scroll really quick. I'll stop every once in a while. We talked about like money, and they talked about the profit leak. We talked about service. We talked about value. We talked about, things like methodologies about business models, everything else. We ran the numbers. We identified how to grow the membership, how to build everything else. And then we came up with an idea. And with the ideation, I came up with the idea of like where the name comes from, where everything else. This is all just using AI as a business consultant that you have a very deep conversation with. And I went all the way into legality and so forth and so on about, best places to actually house it. I went and took the base idea of the logo, and I took it personally into Adobe Illustrator and designed the logo. I fed that logo in order to give the idea an identity. There it goes right there. And then I used that logo to then produce some things that then motivated me towards what we were actually trying to develop. And I could see it in the real world, visualize, understand, and this is flushing the idea. Now, what is important? In the single session, you need to tell the AI to prepare, and I used to do this in different ways, but prepare a .md file. That's a markdown file. Why? Because markdown uses hashes and things that it makes it easy for the AI to understand what you're giving it. And what you're going to tell it is take everything that you have given me, all of this process, and summarize it into an MD file so you or any other AI like you, be it Claude, be it ChatGPT, can pick up where you left off and be fully aware of what we've discussed, how we got here, and what we got to. Now, you don't want to just say summarize because it'll just summarize it. You want it to how we got here, what was the thought process leading up to it, what is the product we have developed, what is the business model that we structure. You want to tell it in detail to put all that information in, and then you're going to save it. Now your whole ideation space, right? And the coolest thing you could ever do is ideate with other people who challenge this AI. But you can do this by yourself because all this is really about what I do by myself in my own office. You challenge the AI in order to come up with ideas that really fit a model that you can implement and that it can help you implement. Then, like I said, you put that into a learnings. All right. So then I jumped and I came out of Oliver. And because my idea had crypto based on it, I built Bruno the Crypto Master. And Bruno now is helping me develop the programmable stablecoin wallet architecture, which is something that we developed like there. So now I'm asking it, help me develop the absolute securest, most trustworthy, modern architecture. Help me develop the best way to use AI to do it. Help me develop the best methodology. And this is what's crazy. AI can teach you how to use AI for what you want to use AI for. And if you miss this step, you are killing yourself. You absolutely have to ask the AI to help you instruct itself. And that is the powerful thing. You probably heard it somewhere else, but you do. Right? Now, you're going to see something very interesting. I'm skipping a step because, and I shouldn't, I asked, let me go back. I asked Bruno, who's my crypto guy. I didn't go straight to the architecture. I went to institutional stablecoin acquisition strategies, El Salvadorian stablecoin, and that's because He suggested El Salvador. Plus, I watched some news that the head of the Treasury in the United States was saying if you want to have like a lawless space to do crypto, then go to El Salvador. And I was like, okay, I will. And then I started looking into that and see what that meant. And then we went into the architecture. I'm not going to get into that. Okay, I'm going to jump because this is repetitive at this point. Because the whole point is that you engage, you learn, you engage, you learn, you expand, and then you save down into a file where you can use it later, and you put this file somewhere else. Now, I was at a place where I was taking and copy pasting this into notes and other things of that nature, and then my son suggested that I use Claude. And so I came out of Gemini, and I went into Claude. And let me open up my Claude window for you, okay? Let me find it really quick. There, I went straight to it. That's awesome. But why? Okay, first of all, I'll never ideate in Gemini again. Ever. I ideate inside of Claude. Why? Because I did this with Claude. I went over here and Claude Desktop. Now, Claude costs $20 for the pro version, $20 a month. But man, it is so freaking worth it. I did my connectors and I connected Claude to everything. I even connected Claude through Zapier, and then I used Zapier to connect to apps that Claude didn't have a connector for. And you can do that so you can integrate with anything. So I'm now integrated. I use Zoho for a lot of stuff, for billing. I use Zoho for sending out forms, CRM, so forth and so on, emails, email campaigns. I use Zoho 1. I now have Zapier completely integrated into Claude Desktop. Zapier to Zoho, back into Claude. I can control every single software, every repository, every tool that I own from Claude. And why Claude? Because Claude just doesn't have a chat function. Claude has a co-work function, which this is that Iron Man crack. This is where you tell it, do this, and it can reach out. Let me use a small example. The first thing I did was to come in here and tell Claude, I said, build me out an email monitor and auto reply. I grabbed an email that had a priority list of everybody who's one of my members in the Freedom Nation. I put them in my priority list. Like if they email me, we must respond to them. I gave instructions on how to structure the response. And it doesn't send it right away. It creates a draft so that I can approve that before it goes to them. Then I gave all the tools that I use to manage the Freedom Nation access to Claude. So if someone says, like, can you research a bill that I paid? Claude can go out there and grab that bill, research it, make a summary, and draft an email with the solution to the problem they asked about, along with a little bit of my instruction if I choose to, or I can refine it. I have this doing 3 times a day and key times throughout the day that are relevant to the Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And it prepares the emails to important people telling them, hey, let me talk to you and I'll get back to you, blah, 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 so that everyone knows I give a darn, because I do. But I can't always do it. Now, this is running all the while I'm working. This is just one. This is just one. I could create 1,000, but this is just one. All while I am working, this thing is monitoring my emails, doing what a secretary would do. And I can tell it to do anything else. I can tell it to do so many things. I can tell it to go and fill out applications. Why? Because I took it another level. Let me open up this other thing that you can do with Claude, which, like I said, Claude is overpowered crack. It is. It's crack. It's crack. If you like crack, okay, then don't smoke crack. Just get Claude. Claude has a Chrome extension. Listen to what I just told you. Claude has you can't see my drop down. Claude has a Chrome extension. So I use Edge for most of my browsing, but I'm putting Claude in Chrome, and then anything that Claude can't do, this is crazy, right? So watch, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this, because you got to see it. It's just, it's so beautiful. I'm going to tell Claude, let's go over to Claude, right? One thing I need to do right now, and it's a little more complicated thing to pull off. And I'm saying, let's see, go to the Kazakhstan Tech Entrepreneur program and complete my form for qualification in the program. Use information available on my LinkedIn profile, at https://www.linkedin/n/Farouk H to complete any requirements that they have and to create any documents they need. Also, search Google Drive for copies of passports or any other documents that might be required to complete the form. Okay. So what I'm doing now, I have an up-to-date LinkedIn, which I actually updated with Claude. I actually updated with Gemini. I actually talked to Gemini about everything I've done over the last several years and had it really organize my information. I had it build functional resumes, Vitas, CVs, everything for me, so forth and so on. Put all of that in order and put all that structure. And now I'm having this, listen what I told it to do. I told it to go to the Constant Tech Entrepreneur Residency Program and complete my form for qualification in the program. Now, this might require it to do a Google search. This might require for it to go to the AIFC website and the Stana Hub website. I know where it's at. But then I'm giving it a base of knowledge. Like, you can go to my LinkedIn, but you also have my Google Drive. So do whatever you need to do. Fill out this form. Listen to me. Do whatever you need to do. Fill out this form. Now, Claude is wicked. Because when you start a co-working session, you can get it working and leave it. You can go do something else. You can go and hit and ask it to execute something totally different, and it will still continue to do this. It's like literally setting up a task for an employee and doing it. Now I'm just going to hit it. Now it says work in a folder. I'm going to give it a work folder. Okay. I have a work folder in, I tell you what, I want to put this work folder in an easily accessible space. So I'm just going to put in my documents, and I'm going to create a new folder called AI work, right? This is just so later I can access it really easy. All right, select folder AI work, okay? Always allow. That's your folder, baby. Do what you need to do, okay? So hit let's go. Now, this thing is going to create documents, save them, upload them. What? It's like crack. If you don't smoke crack, don't start. Just get Claude. It's okay. Now, he's going to start up. He's doing his thing, right? I don't have to monitor him and sit on top of him, okay? He's got the Chrome extension up there. And what's going to happen in just a little while, he's going to open up Chrome. And he's going to browse on his own, right? We're going to wait just long enough so you can see that. Now, this is only part of it. I realized that having Claude in my desktop, the Claude desktop app, and integrating it with all my tools, I could hire a room full of people. I could hire BAs, project managers. I could hire a secretary, admin assist, and none of them, not a single one of them would be as efficient as this is. And I can actually trigger this thing, and the extreme version of Claude is $100. You can pay $200 a month, and they'll give you 20 times more usage points because it does run out of tokens. Tokens is how it counts what it's doing for you. But you can do 20 times for $200. Tell me where you're going to go to spend $200 to hire people who can do almost everything you need for them. Everything. Think about it for just 5 seconds. You won't. So it's so worth it to pay $200. Now look at what it's done. I'm going to switch over here. Let me switch over. Let's go out. It's saying that it found the Nomad Visa folder in your Google Drive. I had a folder with some stuff I was trying to work on it before. It's going to start looking for stuff. I'm going to allow it to have browser actions, right? So let's capture what is going on up here. Let me see if I can grab the browser. Okay, no, it's Bruno the Crypto Master. Okay, I want to swap between these two. Okay, so the browser, right there, he's pulling up LinkedIn, and he's working in LinkedIn. So he's going to grab information, and at the same time he's pulling up LinkedIn, you can see he's working in the Astana Hub folder as well, and he's going to go do everything that he needs to do, so forth and so on, right? If he needs access to something, I can just click the button myself, but you'll see Claude is active in this tab group. So, kind of leave it alone, let him do his thing, right? He's active. He went from there to there. He's trying to do that's all right. Let's dismiss the pop-up on the Stun Hub. I'm going to flip between it so you can see what Claude is saying at the same time, because Claude is telling us what he's doing. And this is important. So you can actually save this later, and you can ask Claude at the end, like at the end of the day, you can just tell Claude, and you can either tell Claude, write me a summary of everything you did today. That's what you can do. Or you can go in the folder that Claude is working in, and you can build a file that tells Claude how to summarize everything for you and build summary logs day by day to tell you what he did, so that you're creating your own memory of what this work has done for you so he can go back. You can even tell Claude to integrate with your project management software or your task software like the Zoho piece and put the task that it's doing inside of that software and then track the task so that it sends you, and then send you an email update on your phone that will tell you where it is at any given time. I don't think you understand what I just said. I just said that you can have a log, and you can tell Claude to write the log, and you can tell it to send it to your phone. You can even go as far as having Claude create a dashboard that is synced to your phone, that has a dashboard ready phone, and then put that thing online and monitor its own work and everything it does, and deliver that dashboard to you. And you can put it in an APK, or you can just make it in a browser. You can secure it with a login, so you can log on your phone and you can just watch Claude work on your phone. And that's without paying any extra money. You can tell it to develop that for you, develop that, and Claude will write it for you, build it, and then it will execute it for you. And I just don't think that a lot of you are using or thinking about using AI in this way. Now you see it's going to the Digital Nomad Residency Project, founded by itself. It's going to do its own work. I don't have to do nothing. It's collecting information now. It can say, I can see your education level. I can see that the program has this. I can see the steps. It's going to the apply page. It's going to work. And here's the best thing. We don't have to watch it. We don't have to watch it. It's saved over here on the side. It's got the little blue dot. It's running. Let's go somewhere else. Okay? Let's go here. It's still running. It won't stop. It'll keep on going and update you about everything. Now, that's cool. That's cool. You can do that's cool. Let's switch the screen just for a second so you can see me. That's cool, right? That's cool. But I'm not some one-off person. I'm a project manager. I'm a program manager. I've been doing this for years. Why in the world would I do this one-off crap? If I ideated my ideas, why not ideate everything I need to do? Why not build an iterative program management structure in AI and then teach it how to create all the tasks and then run those tasks, notify me properly, tell me when I should get involved. I get involved only in those moments, and then teach it how to feed me back the data so that I can monitor the process in real time. This is where it gets beautiful. This is where I can tell you holistically. Okay, so it's asking me to log in up here. Hold on. It will send you a notification on your machine where you can't do something. So I'm going to hit, if you look at this, like here, I'm going to switch over just so you can see what Claude is asking me. It's saying I have an account, right? I'm going to say, yeah, I have an account. I'll upload my account. So I'm just going to go ahead and it needed some intervention. This is one of the things that you should do because I don't think that you should give it, it's saying for security reasons, blah, 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 blah. It can't do certain things, but I logged in already, right? And so it's there and I'll wait for you to confirm proceeding. I logged in, right? You didn't notice that it actually sent me an update on my phone and it sent an update here so that it told me that Claude is waiting for you. Like this job applied to Kazakh Tech is waiting for your response. So there are little points of integration, but I mean, if somebody worked for you, you wouldn't necessarily give them your credentials. You have logged in, but now I'm logged in and Claude is doing what it does. I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to let it because it's something I needed to do. I'm going to let it go. Okay. Let's go to the next level. What I did is I took the project from the crypto app and then I told it to, after we understood the full architecture, make me an architecture design document, show me all the architecture, give me a manifesto, and then we built a humongous PowerPoint file that had all of the details in a presentation level of the architecture, how it was. I went into I went into cybersecurity and do cybersecurity monitoring, cybersecurity best practices, everything. This is how I built my project out, okay? Then I tell it, I say, look, go ahead and I would like to release this thing in this tier. And then I want you to review my release plan and tell me where I can make improvements. And then once you have that, break it down into incremental parts. And then in each part, break it down into extremely, and I use this terminology, extremely granular steps. This is so important. Extremely granular steps on how to get things done. Look, when you're doing project management, you write stories if you're using Scrum, you write a task if you're using the traditional project waterfall, but they always are lacking. Acceptance criteria typically say, I need this, I need this, I need that. From a business standpoint, maybe there's some technical stories that you write if you have technical expertise, but to ask something to literally go and write every single step that needs to be done to get that thing done, it's amazing. So that's what I did. And I asked it, after it built my contextual documents, after I built all the knowledge base for it, I told it, go out. Now I'm going to jump into somewhere else because I realized that running Claude in the browser, okay. Running it in the desktop version and giving it access to all these tools, that's the second level. However, running it in your command line, now this is something that mostly just techies do, but you bust it in PowerShell, or I'm using what's called WSL, which is Windows Server on Linux, subsystem for Linux. So I actually have like Ubuntu running in my Windows install. That's something that was built by NVIDIA. Now, I'm like I said, if you notice, I'm going through degrees of techie. I'm starting on one level, and I'm getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and your tolerance level probably cuts off at some point. So to jump, okay, I set up this kind of roundabout. Now, I'm going to take you into VS Code. If you're one of the techies that are sharing this with me, then you'll notice, but otherwise, I'm going to also tell you something else I did. I needed Claude to have complete control. So as a coder, I'm going to tell you, I did not build my coding environment inside of VS Code or in my local machine. I had Claude, and I worked with Claude to do this, to provision a system called Coder, which is open source. And I want to get to the right screen for this. Okay, so I'm going to show you my Coder. And I went on and provisioned a VM, cost me $18. Okay, and I provisioned it inside of a jurisdiction in the world where it was separated from anybody's prying eyes or anyone being able to subpoena it or anything. It's way out of the jurisdiction. Even the domain name is filed outside the jurisdiction of anyone who would come after it. And then in a secure place, I set up my entire environment inside a Terraform file. And when I put it in this Terraform file, the Terraform file built out this entire workspace for me. So all of my integrations from like every tool I need that needs to be in my development environment, because I'm developing an application with it, right, is in here. Now you can do this if you're not developing. You can do this in Claude Desktop. And just that folder that you tell it to work out of, you're going to build the same stuff I'm going to tell you to do now for the software piece, because this is about software, but it's about program management and project management. And this is project management level, right? But we can do portfolio and project management too, and we can control all of that across the board, where I'm telling you from this seat, I probably could run the development of about maybe 25, if not 30 applications, from this one seat by myself. And I could produce all the documentation that anyone would need on a project by project, portfolio by portfolio, or program by program level, project portfolio program. And I could put it out. I could produce all of the compliance records, all of everything else. I could give all the documentation for all the systems, everything. And I swear to you, I could do it from right here. And each product that I develop is something that I guarantee you would traditionally take a team of at least 5 to 10 people to work for a year to get done. And I would do all 30 products in a matter of about a month and a half, 2 months. And I'm not joking. I'm not talking about little simple stuff. I'm talking about very complicated architecture. And I probably should show you that, because let me show you actually what was the outcome of the architecture. And I'm going to have to open the screen, and then I'm going to have to share the screen. Yeah. So what I'm about to show you now was the outcome of the architecture that I co-architectured with AI. Okay? And I'm telling you, stuff is like crack, dude. I mean, like, I could just be in heaven with this stuff. Okay? So let's go ahead and add another Windows capture. Right, that's the right one. I had a free one up. And let's go here to PowerPoint. Okay. And I'll take this one away. All right. So this is what I built with AI. And the image in the back is AI. Everything in the front is AI. Most of the summaries, the information, everything else is AI. Okay? And what I built was a modular application with various levels of complexity, with pieces that are served in different server methodologies, everything. I don't want to get too deep into that, because that's my project, and it might not have any relevance to you. AI did all the diagramming. This was mermaid.js. I use Eraser. I mean, all of these images are AI. At some point, I did jump into Figma, and I used the ideas from AI for the things to build an actual, like, there had to be some work. You have to do something. But I did the prototyping for all the mock-ups for everything else. But then it explains everything. It breaks everything down, how it's broken down. It breaks the companies that I'm going to work with, all of the back-end processes. It does all the visuals that I've did them piece by piece, put everything in there. And then I broke down all the technologies, everything that I'm going to use, everything the way it's laid out, it works together. The breakdown for that, then I broke down all of the different modular pieces and how they were interlaced, how they were built and interconnected. And then I put everything inside of like this, how it would be distributed from the servers, how it's set up, how each part was laid out. And all of this is AI. Really, it's that co-creation ideation with AI, okay? And then went to the cybersecurity best practices, implemented security first architecture inside of the development environment. And then after that, basically laid out every single technology that I'm going to use for the entire thing, okay? So this is what I laid out. Now, somebody else might tell me that there was a better way to do this. I'm open to you, but this was me. And then I fed this back into the AI, this PowerPoint presentation, and then I told it to build the MD files so that it could teach itself or any other form of AI exactly what the architecture was. So it would always it would never lose track of what it did. And I'm speaking fast because I wanted to make this short, but I'm realizing that I really needed to just dump it all out. And so this, like I said, if you watch the whole thing, kudos to you. I'm not going to chop it up and put like, because I'm not going to put it on YouTube. I'm just simply sharing with y'all from love, right? And open up a conversation if you want to talk about it in more detail. Okay, so let's go out of here. The next thing I asked it to do, build out the project. And I had, like I said, I have my release phases, and not sure if the release phases are listed in this document. Maybe not. Okay, so I'll jump over to VS Code. Okay, and I put it inside of here. I'm not even going to go through the command line interface, but I'm just going to stay here in VS Code and show you what it did. All right, so I've got Claude working over here. You can see it, okay? And it's been doing a lot of work, all right? But the magic of Claude happens with what I call this. I have a space for Claude. Here I've created, and I've created a folder called AI training. This is so important. I mean, this is so important. AI training is where I train the AI how to do what I needed to do. I've built a set of agents. I've built knowledge base and context, okay? So here you can see that it has a mockup file that shows all of the modules, how they work in the application. So basically, this is how everything connects to each other, how everything works, so forth and so on. There's a contextual thing that shows like where the philosophy, this is what got out of that Gemini thing. We're saying this is how we came up with this. This is what it is. This is the idea. This is the structure. This is blah, blah. And it's in a hashtag type situation, so it can come back and learn it very easily. There's a readme.md file. This is for people who come to the project and they're inside of our repo. And then the key here, and I'll come back to this, is next steps. I started in Gemini, so it has a basic thing here in Gemini, but we're going to get out of this. We're going to get out of Gemini, and I'm going to show you where we're doing this somewhere else, okay? Then I have my customer journeys that AI developed these customer journeys, okay? So AI developed these customer journeys. This is how we're communicating the application, everything else, and how it works, what are they supposed to be doing, so forth and so on, okay? Then I created this area called session summaries. This is the cool thing. I'm saving summaries of everything that was done in each session that I had with the AI. So every time I work with the AI, instead of trusting like a higher paid tier where some other tool will save this for me, I'm agnostic. I'm setting up my own session history so that I can feed this back in as learning documents to any AI, whether it be Gemini, ChatGPT, or whatever, and it can know everything I've done up until this point using AI to have anything to do with this project. For me, in a readable format, if I output it, and then for another format, otherwise, right? I'm looking over here because Claude I'm watching it fill out all the parts of the form, which is just awesome. And I don't have to do that. Good Lord. Oh. Okay, so I'm over here, and you can see all the different sessions that I've conducted, and this is just 3 days, right? And I told it, and I'm gonna show you where, I told it how to actually do this. I've got release information. This is information that's guiding the different things. So here are my detailed instructions that I told it to break down, and you see it's broken down, like you see the size of the file, it's pretty huge. It has absolute detailed instruction. Now I broke down my release to 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, so it has an incremental thing. So I'm using my project manager hat. I incrementally structure how I want this thing done. And then I tell in that increment, break it down into epics and milestones. And then from those milestones, break it down into tasks. And in those tasks, break it down to granular steps in each task to get that thing done. And then do something key. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a little tag on each one that says AI and human. It then keeps track of what the human has to do and what the AI does, so the AI can instruct me how to work with it, but I can also look back from my project management software, and I can actually see, because I sync this. Let's see if I have it open over here. Yes, I do. I'm going to let it pull up. Okay? I sync this with Zoho Project, so that I could manage the entire project. I have all open. Let me put it all tasks, and then I'm going to share that screen. Let's share the screen. Let's find out which one it is. That's it doing its work up there. That's Claude still going at it. And here you go. So everything that's in that folder, I have it using it as a foundation to then work with Claude to update my integration with Zoho projects so it's managing my project for me. It's putting in notes, comments, everything, and it's building out the entire project from beginning to this milestone I have is sovereignty 0.1. And from there, I have a traceability matrix where I have my 1.7, 1.8. That's, and listen, the discipline to know to build the traceability matrix is key. If you don't have that, I will tell you this is a particular project management trick, but it's so the traceability matrix basically has means that we can map one thing to another. I understand that I'm releasing 0.1. I know that in that there is epic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the 7 milestones, each one has several tasks. Would be 1.7, 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. This becomes essential when you're keeping track of telling the AI what to do. You're going to tell it to incrementally go and execute the process. So you're breaking its workloads down into small little chunks, and you're also using those small chunks to isolate pre-planning human involvement. And all of this is while my AI admins and assistants and all that stuff and the email checking and stuff is still running over here doing all of that work. I'm building the major project and the major product, and I am tracking it piece by piece by piece. I can see everything in here inside my project management software. And it means I can use the established dashboards, everything that's inside of this tool when I having to get AI to build it because I'm using it with an integration with the software, right? So I can look at the progress and the status. I've done 49 tasks in the last 3 days. I did 49 major tasks in 3 days. I have 19 still open to finish off everything that I've developed for this milestone. Amazing. Then, so let's jump back. I want to go back to VS Code. I want to show you how I'm talking to the AI because that's how the AI is talking. One of the tools it's using to talk back to me. But what's important is, it's asking me something. Would you like me to tick the consent checkbox and save the form draft? And let me know if you like me to adjust my any documents before. Okay, so I'm going to jump back over because it's telling me it finished the form. Okay, we'll go back to that later because if I do that, I'll get sidetracked from telling everything else. All right, here's the coolest part. You ready? I picked this up online and then I just made it crack, okay? You can create what's called a closure document in your agent, okay? And by the way, here's my major decisions and learnings that are tied to each decision that was made and the things that the AI learned so it can continuously teach itself. That's continuous improvement of your AI model, right? Driven by AI. So every time it tries to do something and it hits a snag or it can't do something or whatever, it tells itself, it saves it. It saves it in a learning so that every AI knows don't do it again. Every AI knows this was the better way to do it. So as I'm troubleshooting, as I'm executing, I'm telling the AI to learn and tell itself how to do it better. And I'm teaching it how to do my work better and better and better and better and better every time. So it becomes more efficient every single day. And I'm documenting it in a format that once you spit this format out and you preview it, it looks beautiful. I think I can do the preview. No, I don't have that installed in this one. But either way, when you put it on the repository on GitHub, you can see the preview. It's really readable. I can show you that actually, right? Because I'm putting this whole thing up to GitHub, so it's I'm using it as a repository in GitHub. See if we can get to it again. Look at that. Look at that. Those are those MD files, but they're readable. So you can go back in here and you can read them and see them and look at them. Look at my sovereignty context file. I looked all choppy before, but this is how it looks when you go back and look at it. So these are readable files that you can use, and then you can bring them down. Listen, you can bring these files down and create PowerPoint presentations from them and documentations, white papers, and everything else that can be used to show other people what you're doing and how you're doing it. And you could do it in less than an hour. You'll be able to actually do all the documentation, everything else. And AI is generating every last one of these documents. All of this simultaneously. And I know I'm just scratching the surface because one of the things that I'm doing, I know I could do better, meaning that I could do better, but I'm not freaking out about it. I do it all the time. And here is what I'm doing. Here is the key. I have under here an agent, and I call this agent closure. I learned this, and this is great. This is awesome and amazing. Hold on, I'm going to fix my camera. Sorry, bouncing around. Okay, the closure document, you tell it to run. You tell it to run at the end of every session you have. So you run AI for because one of the big issues you might find if you're talking to AI a lot is that it can make mistakes and it can miss stuff and it can do everything else, okay? Sometimes it can do whatever. So that's, like I said, I have my learnings and decisions because I wanted to understand when it made a mistake, how to correct it. It'll never make that mistake again. I have my all of the other things that teach it what things are, so forth and so on. And I have the project plan, right, that's cooked into an MD file that tells it the next steps to do in a granular format so it can follow that piece by piece. I can literally just type inside of my prompt, do story number 1.2. It'll then update it, tell me that it's done. They say, do story number 1.3. That's my whole work day. And I don't have to do that. I can tell it, run the first 7 stories. Let me know if you have an error. I can do that. And it will just go on by itself. Because one of the things that I had to do when it built the stories, I told it at the end of every story to include quality assurance. So go in and no matter what work you do, go back and validate that work and ensure that it was done well. I also did quality assurance on the steps itself. So I ran the steps and then told it to go back and look at the steps and ensure that it made everything else. I always tell AI to double check itself and even triple check itself. You wait another minute to get it done and make sure that it doesn't have any errors or it hasn't had anything it didn't think of prior to executing anything. I double, triple, quadruple check things. Now, this file, the closure file, what it's doing is this. Closure.md is basically telling some key learnings and stuff like that, key things it needs to know. But then it's saying, okay, in a granular way, it's each one. I think I can break this down. I'm looking at it. It's kind of granular. So it builds a session summary. So those session summary files you saw, it tells it how to build it, and you can see right here, it's even telling it how to name it. Name it according to date and time, so I can have multiple files per date and time. I told it that. Update the context reference, update decisions and learnings and do that by date and time. Update the status tracking, so inside of the project one, go in there and mark things as done, not done, done, not done, done, not done, and then I can use that file later to feed into Claude Desktop because it has access to Zoho, and that's how I'm updating my Zoho. I'm doing real time, like no BS from some programmer telling you what he's doing, not doing, feeding it to you. I don't need no damn stand-up. I have my file telling me for real what it did and feeding it back into my project management summaries. So it is extremely accurate to the real life. Okay? No BS, no hidden nothing, right? Then I'm telling it to come back and then update, and this is my personal thing. This is my personal thing. Next steps. I love this the most. I tell it to go in and create the next steps file. It updates what it should do in the next session. So you're not sitting at the computer trying to figure out what to do. You built a project plan. So it's going down the project plan saying in the next session, the next chunk of things that you should do are these chunks and steps. And so it's saying step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 7, whatever. Now, when you create this to-do list to understand scope creep, this is crazy. You go in and you put your scope creep inside here and you tell it to add it to it. And then you can ask it to estimate and re-baseline the project based on that scope creep. And it'll update your project management software and your Gantt chart so you can see it. And if you want to, you can spit out a report that you can just go to the one thing and tell it to email it to you. So you just literally, at the end of it running, just go to your email, look in, and you'll see the project is increased by 2 days. The project increased by a day. Here's exactly why. And you don't have to do nothing. And it's real. It's not BS fed to you by somebody and what they thought. It's reality. Okay? So, let's go next steps, and you'll see. It'll tell me the steps that are after the next steps, like what I'll be doing in the future, so that I can come in and understand 4, 5, 6 days, 4 or 5, and I say sessions, not days, because a session might only run an hour. What might take a week, maybe a week-long sprint, will take an hour. And so what you can do is just say, okay, session. I like to say session instead of that because this happened a lot quicker, right? The next step, you literally just start every day by saying, open the next steps file and tell me what to do. And any scope creep, you can re-baseline through the next step file and through your project files. You have complete project control. And then you can take any monitoring that you set up and feed the monitoring. So if you got your, what I have done, I set up 2 softwares that monitor the software in real time and monitor it against Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, ISO compliance across the board. So if you have a compliance problem, if you have anything else, it can then feed it in here to the project and then tell it what to do and then make it resolve it. You can either make it happen automatically through a scheduled job where the scheduled job will monitor this file for next steps and then pull out tasks and then execute them on their own. Or you can do it manually as you sit here as a controller and you go through the AI and have it do that. Okay? The closure, next steps, module and map update. So I update all the modules, all structures, any architectural changes that have happened, everything else, and that's every single time. Now think about what I've done. I have a continuous loop. Every single time I run a session, this thing will learn things, not learn things, know things. It consolidates that information. It puts it in an appropriate file structure. It creates its own logs, and it uses logs as its knowledge base in order to do the next thing. And it tells itself what to do next. Every iteration, it becomes smarter and smarter and smarter. It understands my environments better. It understands what works and doesn't work. It knows how to go back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 days and tell you. 80 days it can go back and tell you what was done to cause a particular problem to happen. And if you use that with the ability for it to access usage logs, especially if you have monitoring involved, it has full knowledge of the ideation thoughts, of the implementation process, of the usage, and of the deployment. And it can fix anything at any time. You have now really used AI to its potential that I can. This is me, okay? And I know I can do more. I know I can do a lot more. I know I can do a lot more. But this is just what I've done in 4 days. So that's the end of this video, y'all. I have totally geeked out, and I've showed you my AI workflow. I hope you share, and I hope you whatever I send it to you, whether it be WhatsApp or Telegram or something, I'm going to have to throw it on YouTube because it's too big. So I'm going to have to throw it on YouTube, and then I don't know if I'm going to make it public. I don't think I want to. But I'm definitely going to send it to my buddies in a private video. And I think it's got to be like, 40 minutes long, 30 minutes long, whatever. But it's jump through it if you want to. Man, I'm so excited about what I can do with this stuff. And all the AI I have, all of it together, I'm paying $100 for it. And all the servers that I have set up and everything, all the software that I just showed you, everything is another $100. This is a $200 a month setup. I'm out of here.